Hi, everybody. It's Lindsay with High Altitude Astrology, bringing you a video about the new moon in Aquarius, which is occurring tomorrow, January 24th, 2020, at 2:42 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And as you can see from this chart, the new moon occurs exactly at 4 degrees of Aquarius and 22 minutes. New moon times are significant because they set the stage for the coming lunar month as the moon begins to get full and then wane as it gets unfull, uh, setting itself up for the next new moon. So this new moon energy is about what the potential is for the month to come. So this is a significant new moon, especially because we've just come through quite a bit of intense astrology. We had the new moon solar eclipse, which was in the sign of Capricorn, and then we had the full moon lunar eclipse, which is in the sign of Cancer. And just a couple of days after that, we had the conjunction of Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn. So this new moon is really setting the stage for continued integration of all of the shifts and changes that occurred during all of those astrological events. And this new moon is at, again, 4 degrees, 22 minutes of Aquarius. And what it means is that the moon, which is our emotional expression and our feelings, and the sun, which is our solar light, how we shine our light out into the world, are together. They're working together, so to speak, and expressing themselves basically like in the same way. And in Aquarius, we have the energy of air, even though people think Aquarius is a water sign because it's called the water bearer, and sometimes you see the picture of the person pouring water from a container, but that water is symbolic of air, of intellect, and it's a special kind of intellect, Aquarius energy. Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, and that's going to play a significant role in this new moon, which I'll speak about in a moment here. But Uranus is the only planet that rotates on its side in the solar system at a 90-degree angle. So when you think of that, that gives you kind of an idea of what Uranus is all about. It's about something different. It has to do with innovation, with insight, sort of a quick, insightful understanding. It has to do with experimentation, with looking at things in a different way. These are all Aquarian, Uranus, which rules Aquarius, types of energy. It rules science. Uranus and Aquarius rules astrology, which is really kind of a different way of looking at essentially the energy dynamics of the world that we live in. So those are the sign that the sun and moon are in at this new moon time, at this beginning time. New moons always symbolize beginnings because they are the beginning of the moon cycle. So we can see what is being in some ways asked of us at the new moon time, or the energies that are available to us at the new moon time to integrate into our consciousness. And I wanted to read the Inside Degree from a book called Inside Degrees by Elias Lonsdale. And it breaks down every sign of the zodiac. And this is the sign for the, or this is the description for the new moon, or for 4 degrees of Aquarius. Many fireflies at dusk. You become aware all at once of staggering things. of astounding things, of world-shattering things, states of revelation. You are being called inwardly to shake off the slumber of the common day and to heed the stirrings of the future. Capable of bounding leaps, you're infused with a spirit of new beginnings, especially strongly drawn toward altered states and threshold awareness. You've been brought to places where all of the shared assumptions and ideologies become pale and lifeless, and something other sparks recognition and pursuit. Collectively inspired to find alternatives, to seek a vision, to gather with those who are similarly touched, you are on the ground floor of new movements and innovative discoveries, and full of wonder and awe at the process and at a whole way of things in worlds such as this one. So you can feel the energy of 4 degrees Aquarius and what this new moon is suggesting. It is about looking at things in a new way. It's about looking at things in an innovative way. And not only looking at them that way, but shining our light out in the world in that way, and also having an emotional state that understands things, experiences in our lives from that type of perspective. And I think this is going to be really helpful because we've really been through a lot, especially with the eclipses that just happened. And I think a lot of people's experiences brought up change through endings and new beginnings. And I feel that this new moon is going to be bringing, in some ways, like a new way of looking at those things that we've just come through. And it's going to help us step back a bit and be able to integrate our experiences more with a little bit more of a detached perspective. Now, what's interesting about this new moon is that the moon and the sun at 4 Aquarius are squaring Uranus in Taurus. Now, Uranus is the planet, again, that rules this sign of Aquarius. So here it is in the sign of Taurus. Now, Uranus has been in Taurus for a little while now, but you can see it's only at 2 degrees. So it's just kind of getting started in its movement through the whole sign of Taurus. And it's going to take another 6 years or so to complete that. And this is actually the first time that we're having what is called a closing square. So the sun is going to be moving this direction and catching up with Uranus eventually. But this square that's happening with Uranus and the sun is significant in the cycle of Uranus and the sun having come together back in April of 2019 in Taurus and moving around the solar system this year. And now eventually next April will come back and complete its cycle with Uranus. But right now we're in what's called the closing square. And so it's really the closing square times are times of kind of letting go of seeing what's no longer working and allowing that process of the falling away. You know, it's kind of like autumn or fall, where we're allowing sort of what is no longer working for us to fall away. And then ultimately, when the sun reaches Uranus next April, we will have a new seeding time of these two energies together. So what is falling away? Well, from the moon and the sun squaring Uranus, and the moon and the sun in Aquarius squaring Uranus and Taurus. Uranus and Taurus is about, really it's about our need to innovate and to, in some ways, redefine, reimagine our needs. That's what Taurus is all about. It's about the, the physical world that we create in order to provide for ourselves, the comforts that we have in our lives, and the things that make us feel secure. It does also have to do with our personal self-worth and our self-value. So there's something here that's shifting around, and becoming more innovative around what do we value? What do we value? And with that sun moving towards that Uranus in this closing square, this could be asking for us to basically innovate, innovate in the way we shine our light out into the world in relationship to what truly satisfies us, what do we truly value, what truly holds value for us. And in some ways, this energy could cause some disruption, because we may be needing to make more adjustments in relationship to how we want to shine our light in this Aquarian innovative way, in relationship to these new values that we might be wanting to also integrate into our lives. I think the challenge in this dynamic with the moon and the sun squaring Uranus is because both Uranus and Taurus are fixed. So the sun and the moon are in both Aquarius and Taurus are fixed. So the sun and the moon in Aquarius and Uranus in Taurus, it's like there's something that's sort of, we're holding on to the way things have been, or to the way we think things should be, when really what the energy of Aquarius and the energy of Uranus are asking us for is to really be open to new ways of doing things. And this could really be interesting, because perhaps it could reinvigorate or innovate some situations that we thought were not fixable. Now that we are able to allow some new ways, progressive ways, that's what Uranus is about, of seeing things or doing things into those old situations, we may come up with some different solutions. So that is a bit about the sun and the moon in Aquarius squaring Uranus. Some people talk about, there might be like, conflicts, because Uranus is kind of infiltrating the solar nature and causing us to rebel and act, out of character. But I think really with awareness, we can kind of see how what we're really wanting is to innovate the way that we are able to shine our light and experience our emotions with these Uranian in Taurus ways of experiencing value in things. Now, perhaps that could, because this is the closing cycle, mean, some things are irreparable. Some things just aren't going to be able to reconnect, but really this is about allowing this integration of this perspective of these new values that we want to incorporate into our solar and lunar expression in a very innovative and new way in our lives. And another thing I want to say about this sun and moon in Aquarius squaring the Uranus and Taurus, I think this closing square is really asking us to have a more open mind about these new values that we want to integrate into our lives, or that we're being asked to integrate into our lives. Or perhaps it might even be like an extremely quick, almost like enlightenment around realizing, how can we be more open-minded and more understanding and more sort of in our own experience, while also innovating what it is that we value and innovating our relationships. Really, Taurus is a relationship energy as well. All right, so the other thing that's going to be happening at this new moon time is that Mercury is at 13 degrees of Aquarius, and Mars is at 14 degrees of Sagittarius. So Mercury in Aquarius is a pretty comfortable place. Mercury is our thinking and our communicating and our rationalizing and sharing of information. And in Aquarius, again, this is in some ways supporting this new moon energy, because Mercury is kind of saying, all right, I'm kind of seeing this energy here, and I'm understanding it. And, yes, we need to be more open-minded, and we need to be more, liberated in the way that we see things, have a bigger and broader perspective. And at the same time, it's creating a 60-degree angle over here to Mars and Sagittarius. And Mars is all about taking action and having courage and self-asserting. And so, and Sag is this energy of like a bigger perspective, a bigger vision. It's ruled by Jupiter, the largest planet in the solar system. So Mars and Sag is like, let's go, let's go on that quest. Let's go, out seeking the new experience. And so these two are kind of working together in that angle of 60 degrees, sort of saying, okay, let's try some new things out. Let's try some new ways. Let's go on some new journeys, with this Aquarian dimensional perspective on things, and with this energy of like courage that we can create greener pastures, or we can create new experiences. I mean, that's what Sag is all about. It's the archer shooting its bow out into the unknown. It wants to seek, and it's also what the energy that rules philosophies and religion and spiritual perspective. So, this could be somehow bringing some, new way of viewing things. Mercury in Aquarius, sextiling Mars in Sag, but, allowing us to really take action towards and putting effort towards bringing that new spiritual awareness into fruition. All right, so what is also happening around this new moon time, which really is just the next day, you're going to have the moon moving over. I'm going to move out of the way here. You're going to have the moon joining Mercury. You can see that right here on the 25th. So then we've got the moon, which is the emotional self, connecting with Mercury, which is the thinking and the communicating. So this is about, our feelings becoming more aligned with our thinking in this new and innovative way. Let me get a few more keywords for Aquarius. Progressiveness, inspiration, independence, unconventionality, liberation, inclusiveness, detachment, and humanitarianism. So that's going to happen the day after the new moon, and we'll have an opportunity to continue to kind of balance our emotions with these new ideas that we have around innovative thinking and taking action towards creating a better future. And then also leading up to the end of the weekend, we're going to have an interesting combination of planetary alignments, and this is where things are going to be a little bit sensitive, and that we need to be a little more aware, because we are heading into a few different aspects that involve Venus in Pisces and Mars in Sag. So the first aspect that happens is the square between Venus in Pisces and Mars in Sag. Now, Venus in Pisces, you can see the square right here on Sunday, the 26th. Venus in Pisces is comfortable there because Venus is really about it's a yin energy. It's about receiving and being receptive. It's about what we find pleasurable, what we find tasteful. It's about the feminine principle of love. And in Pisces is this transcendent energy of including and incorporating everything. So it's like when we have Venus in Pisces, we can be very understanding. We can be very accepting. And which is a good thing, because I think with some of this energy of the new moon, we are going to need to perhaps be more heart-centered in integrating and staying open to new experiences. Now it's squaring, this Venus and Pisces, the Mars and Sagittarius. So Mars is also the male sexual energy. So there's this dynamic here between the two sexual energies, which in some ways can be a great thing. I mean, it can bring up a lot of creative expression, because Mars can give some energy to the Venusian principle, and give it some energy to help create. But if we're talking about this on a really kind of relationship-oriented level, I would say that this energy is a bit challenging, because it's going to need to be balanced, because the Mars in Sag might be really enthusiastic and really want to move forward, whereas the Venus in Pisces might be kind of like trying to absorb, what these shifts and changes are all about, and it may take more time to really kind of get comfortable and be really open to what is happening. And the other aspect of it is the Venus in Pisces can also be very idealistic, and it can be very imaginative, and it can kind of dream up what it wants to see. So with this square, it's going to be necessary to find some clarity before, taking significant action. Mars in Sag, find some clarity around, what is really the best thing for Venus in Pisces, because Venus in Pisces can be so open that it can kind of get walked on. But I think this is a good energy for really being open and being, compassionate and forgiving and loving. And at the same time, making sure with that Mars and Sag, Mars is about me and the self, so making sure that we are really moving in the direction that is in the benefit of ourself, and that we're not allowing ourselves to be sort of emotionally manipulated, or that we're not allowing our own needs, because Venus rules Taurus, to basically become um, taken away or just like dissolved. That's very Neptunian and Piscean. So there's a little bit of a awareness we have to have around this dynamic as we move into that time. Now, what's going to happen right after that on Monday the 27th is that then Venus and Neptune, are going to conjunct in Pisces. So at its highest, I think this could really be just total acceptance and sort of dissolving of any tension and frustration that may be coming up in relationship dynamics, and kind of taking the higher road. It could also just mean completely piecing out and moving on, because Pisces is a mutable energy, and so it does have that fishy tendency to just kind of take off. But I think these two energies together, because Neptune, is about spirituality. It's about a transcendent perspective at its highest expression. And so then Venus in Pisces, our loving energy in this very transcendent sign too. This is like a really big sort of like, okay, I accept, I get it, I accept it type of energy, which is great. We just have to be aware of not allowing ourselves to have such few boundaries that, we are being taken advantage of, or, not taking care of ourselves. I think this can be indicative of a really beautiful relationship energy. And because this is the new moon time, I feel like this can be showing us an opportunity to create something very beautiful in our relationships, something very transcendent in our relationships, something very loving and acceptant and accepting and compassionate in our relationships. That all, looks really nice. Yes, and then the last thing I wanted to mention about this sort of trifecta of energy is that then the next day, which is the 28th, we are going to get Mars in Sagittarius squaring Neptune. And this is happening a little bit earlier in the day. Let's see here. Here it is. It's happening early in the morning on the 28th. You can see Mars and Sagittarius squaring Neptune. And this is, again, Mars wanting to, assert and have courage and take action in this very Sagittarian, very exploratory, but also creating like new growth and new perspective. It's squaring that Neptune in Pisces, and this could be helping us integrate a Neptunian and Pisces perspective into our new philosophies around self-assertion and around, the male energy in relationship. But the square can also bring up the need for adjustment. So, this might be that that we just have to, again, be a little bit more kind of grounded in what we're trying to create, and make sure that we're not, totally becoming kind of moved this way and that way in this process. I mean, in some ways, this has the energy of like, oh my gosh, you can believe in anything, like Neptune and Pisces squared Mars and Sag, like, yes, like we can do anything, or, yeah, that's a great idea. That's totally what we should do, and there just might need to be some more time taken in order to assert ourselves, Mars and Sag, around these new issues. We should kind of maybe give ourselves a little more time to really make sure that we're kind of seeing things and behaving in really ways that are going to be beneficial. I mean, I see it as the energy of like just sort of having faith and kind of taking a leap of faith. So it could play itself out that way as well. All right, I think that is my explanation for this new moon in Aquarius at 4 degrees, happening again on Friday, the 24th of January already, and it's happening at 2:42 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Thank you so much for watching. If you like my channel, please subscribe and share this video. I appreciate it very much. I also do readings. You can reach me at info@highaltitudeastrology.com or find my website online, highaltitudeastrology.com. Thank you so much. Take care.